and that's what I was doing. And this morning we have big arrows. Let me just click this off. The ones that count. I was told on Twitter, they said, Mike, you got to get ready. There may not be the kind of room that you normally have in the studio. And I would say that you're probably right. But a 3-0 start for your Toronto Arrows. And we have Andrew.
How's it going? Thanks for having us, Mike.
A Holland Landing standout. So high school was what then? Where'd you go to school?
I went to Bill Crowley's in Unionville for grade 9, and then I went to Denison grade 10 on. It's in Newmarket, so I had to bus in.
Well, Newmarket, though, from Holland Landing, that's what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, but you're on Yonge Street, so you weren't biking. Well, parents usually wouldn't let you bike, so you'd have to take the bus.
Now, did you ever work in that dark mud, all that healthy soil, all the growing? Because there's a lot of,
freshest, most fertile soil on the globe, actually.
Yeah.
My father picked onions, but no, I was never fortunate enough. I did irrigation growing up, so I was never fortunate enough to work in there. But
people who so if you go up the 400 and you're on the way to cottage country, there was a time where there was like hail or something. And people said, why does it smell like coleslaw, like all this, and the smell of onions? I go, because this is the land you're talking. The soil's almost black.
Yeah,
like it's amazing. It's great.
Oh yeah.
So look at the fertile young man across from me too. They grow them big.
Carrots, beets, got it all.
Yeah. Cole, you were from. Now, where are you from in New Brunswick?
A really small place. It's called Appahawk.
So what is it close to though? What part of the province are we talking about?
It's like pretty much right in between St. John, Moncton, and Fredericton.
Now,
it's kind of in the little triangle, kind of just in the middle of it.
People who haven't been, like, I love going to New Brunswick. And Fredericton is like a nice town. Like, it really is.
City,
if you've never been there, it's St. John, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not John's. It's
no S.
That's a different place. Yeah. Now, what's the rugby scene like out there? Because, very often when we talk about it, I know Victoria gets a lot of love and all the stuff that goes out there. There's certain areas across the country where we talk about it. In the Maritimes, what is rugby out there? What is that scene like?
It's really, it depends on like what cities you go to. Like you go some places and it's non-existent, and then you go others and it's fairly big per se. I don't know, like in Newfoundland and St. John's, it's decently sized. Like they got a decent following. Halifax is starting to really grow now, and it's not anywhere comparable to Toronto or Victoria or Vancouver or anything, but there's a good following. There's a decent high school competition. With most high schools have it now in their systems. So, yeah.
So what was your road to get to the Toronto Arrows? How did you come to get here?
So I played high school rugby and then went on, played for the provincial team, then played for the Atlantic team, like age grade under 19s.
Right.
And then I actually moved out to BC right when I graduated high school. Like a month after I finished high school, I moved out to BC, and then just started out there, and then got picked up for the national team a year later. And
so university for you or no?
I've never been to university. No. I had a little gap year there. Actually, I was a welder back home because I moved home for about a year, and I welded just in a factory at home for a year, and then moved back out to BC after that, and then it's all been just going from there. So
and for you, Andrew, what was your road after high school?
I went to university. I went Bill Webb and I are alumni from the same university, Laurier.
More Laurier people, yes, know it very well.
Yeah, best uni on the globe, I'd say. And I just got a major in geography, environmental studies. I don't know if I'll ever do anything in it, but I enjoyed my 5 years there, and I learned about stuff I enjoy. So,
well, see, I would think so. You're going to Laurier, and you're bigger than the guys probably on the football team. You're probably bigger than those guys.
They asked me. One of their coach asked me. He said like something about a nose tackle, but I don't know football. I didn't have it in high school. So.
Those are just big guys who are supposed to plug a hole.
So
just
they asked if I wanted to play, and I respectfully declined. I thought it was cool, but I said I know nothing. I'll probably be.
But so why would you? Because a lot of people would assume that in North America, you would, for the most part, be more assimilated to North American football than rugby. So why were you rugby more than football?
Well, at Denison when I played, they didn't have a team, so it was just rugby. And same with at Bill Crowley's. I don't know why I never played. I think because football was in the hockey season at Bill Crowley's.
Always.
Yeah, so and then I started playing rugby, and then in high school I just continued to play when Denison didn't have a team. So I never looked at football, and it wasn't really on the TV much at home. Honestly, it's a interesting sport, and I never realized how much like knowledge is behind it, but never really like was fascinated about it. So.
Well, see, but you bring up a really good point too. Like coaching a lot of high school sports, what you find is generally across this country, because hockey and football fall at the same time. If I'm the football coach, a lot of times I lose my best athletes going out the door because they all want to play hockey. They don't want to play football. Rugby falls in for high school pretty good because it's in the spring, and all of a sudden, it's a great springtime sport. And so you don't have to compete with a lot of the other ones unless the guys want to do track and field or whatever. But that's really basically it. Yeah. So that's interesting. So out of Laurier, then what happens for you?
And then I was just playing like Cole started. He was playing on the Atlantic team. I was playing with Ontario at the time. And then from there, Mark Winokur was sort of assembling the arrows.
Right.
And everything fell in place from there.
Well, the start that you guys have got is outstanding, but it almost feels like amongst the other teammates that there was a pretty high expectation coming into this season, that you really had a real solid handle on where you think that you were going to be. So something tells me, as much as so I'm following it now, I'm seeing the league, I'm seeing the other teams, but I kind of get the feeling that this is where you think you guys were going to be anyway. Like, not in an arrogant way, but I think the fact that you're 3-0 at this point isn't shocking to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think we're surprised with how we started. I mean, we all came in, I mean, even last year, we wanted to win it last year, and I mean, some people might think that's a little crazy for an expansion team. But, I mean, we know that how quality the players are on our team, and then just another year to get the kinks out of just all the logistics things and everything like that, and learn how to operate as a professional team. So, yeah, this year we got our sights set on that Shield. So
you're a prop.
Yeah.
Has that always been a position for you throughout your career?
I played a little back row back in high school.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Modest.
But yeah, I've always been a prop.
And for you people, and now look, just so you know, I'm not being weird. If they're not familiar with rugby, when I say that Andrew's a hooker.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I get to snuggle up beside Cole in the scrum.
It's the best hooker I've ever had.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's nothing wrong. These are okay. It's not a Me Too thing. No, he's fine that he is. And are you the finest hooker that's ever come out of Holland Landing? That may,
I don't know.
You know what?
Yeah.
That might be a different conversation.
Yeah. Have to ask Winokur. He's probably experienced them a little more.
It is 8:20 on News Talk Saga 960. By the way, Dave's not here, so we can go as long as we want. You can stay all hour if you want. You can stay as long as you want here today.
Yeah.
So coming up, you've got Atlanta. So for people who don't know, I'm still following along, seeing these teams for the first time. You're playing ATL. In terms of a challenge, where does this team fall for you? Because they're expansions, aren't they? Is this their first year?
Expansion as well. Well, we feel like they're going to play the same sort of game as us. Again, they're doing pretty good in the Eastern Conference, and it's our first conference game this weekend. So it's gonna be a hit up. We know it's gonna be physical. There's 2 Canadian boys down there.
One that created the Farmers Rap at Tim Hortons.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's claiming that?
That's what he claims.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a big claim.
That's
like
a big claim.
That's like saying you invented the wave at stadiums.
I mean,
how do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's what he says.
Yeah. So no, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be unreal.
See, this is the great thing as we follow along, because we have a home game. What in how many weeks? April the 4th. So and we can say it's at York, the York facility. And so, look, we're all looking forward to that. I mean, to play in your own backyard, and we've talked about with some of the other guys. When you are if you're from the GTA or you're from this area, there was a time where I wouldn't realize there would be professional rugby at that point.
Yeah.
That you would have guys playing in front of their families, but also you're on TSN, you're on CBS. Is it Fox sometimes too? Like, I mean, this thing is the ground floor of what is potentially going to be, well, I think it's going to be like Major League Soccer. I think it's going to go the same way. The cities that if you're watching for the first time and you're not familiar, I mean, we're talking about the biggest cities. You're talking about Houston's and Seattle's, you're talking about New York, and now we're going down to Atlanta. These are the biggest cities that we have in North America. It just tells you that, at least to me, you can just sort of see it coming, like it's coming down the DVP. This is going to be big, and I think that, does this fall on you, the gravity of maybe what you're doing right now, or are you just playing that's for the rest of history to decide, or do you realize that you're actually kind of groundbreakers a little bit?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, Dan Moore, our captain, he always pushes it like that. You know, we're very fortunate to be playing a sport and making a paycheck out of it. Cole was a welder. I used to dig in the grounds, and I mean, I think I enjoy this a lot more. So, yeah, I mean, it's like Bill Webb's given us a privilege. So, I mean, yeah, it's great. I'm almost speechless when it comes to it because it's such a great opportunity to have. And
it is a great opportunity. Now people back home, back east, are they familiar with what you're doing? Like, do they see the games because they can get the games on TV?
Yeah, there's been a lot more with the Arrows since like last year because we used to just have the national team games on TSN every now and then, but I know now people back home talk to me about the Toronto Arrows and all that stuff now because they see it on Facebook and the live streams, and then there was a few games on the Game Network last year, I think, as well. And then, so yeah, it's starting to get a lot more traction back where I'm from as well. So, and it's pretty cool, yeah.
Well, again, it's TSN Direct is out. Some of those games have been coming for us, but I think as this thing moves along, certainly when you have a home game, which would be nice. So once again, that's April 4th. We'll talk more about how they can get tickets and season tickets, because they will be easily the cheapest season tickets of any professional sports team in this city by a mile. But it also will be the most entertaining, and almost you can guarantee that you'll go home happy after going to a sporting event in Toronto, which right now isn't as common as you would think. Oh, sure, the Leafs win last night, but who knows? They'll lose to a circus team tomorrow night. You can't count on that. But these guys you can count on, and the beauty of rugby is, and again, this is for people who are still, I mean, I think education is a big part of it when maybe they haven't gone to it. They don't understand even what the positions are called. The game doesn't stop. Like you once it gets going, that thing just literally doesn't stop. I think the kicking will probably freak people out a little bit, as it may have last game. How many kicks did he have?
9.
9 for 9.
Money.
Don't let the Argos see that. Don't let, because and it was again in typical Pacific Northwest weather. The drizzle was coming down the whole time, but that's really how it is. But nice crowd there too. It looked like, because they've got a pretty good backing, and it's a little bit of payback, is it not, for last year?
It feels good.
Yeah,
it feels great.
It's great seeing their fans leave a little early after about 10 minutes left in the game.
Yeah,
they'll start trickling out. So that made the boys feel pretty good when that happened.
That's nice too. The guy from New Brunswick watching the people leave sad. That's good stuff. We'll come back on the other side as I am running a solo today. So when I say traffic on the 5s, oh yeah, right, that means me. I'll try not to make it up. Actually, this morning I think we got a little lucky simply because I thought that bad weather was coming earlier than what we got. Therefore, there hasn't been the number of crashes and sort of congestion I thought that we would have. It's just, for the most part, if you're looking on this side of the city, it's the usual suspects. It is pretty much jammed, though. QEW from almost Oakville all the way through, like it normally is, down across to the 427, into Etobicoke, right into the Humber. That's busy. Across the top of the city, the 401, it is kind of stop and go, both east and west on the 401. There is one construction zone kind of area that's westbound on the 401. Otherwise, it's the usual suspects. If you're looking as far east as the 404 DVP combination, it is also pretty jammed as well. But there are no accidents to report. If we're looking closer towards Brampton, we do have Peel Regional Road 10. So on Beauvard and Peel Regional 10, there is an accident. But other than that, we simply have the usual congestion. Looking at the Lakeshore West, when it comes to the GO trains, you had those issues because of more surprise blockades. Who could get through a string with socks on it? What? We have one issue. The 749 eastbound West Harbor to Union Station is a 9-minute delay, and the train has stopped. See, Andrew, we could use you on those ones. Just go up, tear them down. Just tear it down. You have a problem with that?
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, he's not going to say anything. It is 8:26 on Newstalk Saga 960.
Your favorite morning show has a new home. Mike Richards and David Bastel, 6 to 9 weekdays on Newstalk Saga 960. Brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products.
Let me get rid of this.
How's this going, Mike? Is this good?
Yeah,
Are we
absolutely.
live right now or no?
Oh yeah, we're live.
No, like right now. Like
Yeah,
people can hear this.
Oh, they can, on the cameras they can,
Yeah. How's it going?
but on the radio they can't.
So how many viewers you usually get?
How many which?
How many viewers? Do you know? Can you tell or?
That's well, we can by the numbers when it comes out. So it, like I'll put out something today and probably 1,000 people, probably I would say.
Cool.
Yeah, and then it goes to different sort of venues where they can see. They'll be watching. I'll contain all this stuff, so they'll see the whole hour.
Yeah.
And I'll put that on YouTube,
Oh, nice.
and so people will go to that.
But
So
960. Like how many people like listen to that?
it's
for
like
the-
it's like 10,000.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's because we're new, so it's kind of small, but it's
Hey.
about like 10,000 a day, something like that.
It's all right.
Yeah,
Gotta start somewhere,
yeah,
eh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've been on for a year, and for the first 3-4 months, it was just it was like probably like playing for the Gilgronis. It was like I never knew what the hell's going on, where are we playing, what are we called? Like it was just too weird, and then it all kind of slowed down. We kind of were able to get our hands and feet on the ground. So I would say, into the fall it was good, but then since January it's just been excellent.
That's awesome.
So we're, in this industry where people are panicking and they continue to make enormous mistakes, we're just kind of coming up the other way in a very small place.
Yeah,
But
of course.
But it's fun. It's sort of like when we were talking about the Toronto Arrows. When you're on the ground floor or something, as long as you realize it's going up, it's kind of a good place to be.
Oh yeah.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, that's no. We'll put. I'll get some stuff out there for sure. The hooker comment is going out on a highlight.
Yeah, you're
Has
you're,
to.
Yeah,
You're hot. You're hot
that was awesome.
Cole didn't get much
It-
sleep last night. He was thinking about all these things.
Just
He's
with
got about an hour.
scenarios in my head.
What scenarios were you thinking about?
Just all the
I don't
chirps
know.
you could throw. So it's not commercial-free radio.
No, just they're running commercials now.
Yeah. What commercials do you guys run? Like,
Well, because we're new, some of it's local, but one of our big ones is Woodbine, like Casino Woodbine and Woodbine Racetrack and all that.
That up on the way home, maybe.
So that
yeah.
yeah. Well, it's 5 minutes from here.
Is it? Eh?
Yeah, but see, it's gonna be
Patty will be jealous.
it's gonna be huge though. See what they're doing there, as big as it's been.
20 seconds.
In the next 5 years, it will be like a small city. It will be the second biggest casino in all of North America.
Yeah, I only know Casino
Massive.
Ajax because of their deals on seafood and
$8 prime
steak.
rib that he
Oh,
hits
they
every
take
Wednesday night.
Is it all you can eat?
I don't know.
Wow, because that would take a beating. Would be okay.
News Talk Saga 960 is the new home for Raw Mike Richards. Brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products. Also streaming live on saga960.ca. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike and Dave.
8:30 News Talk Saga 960. Raw Mike Richards, Dave. I was going to do an old bit. Dave's not here, man. If you knew that, it's hilarious stuff. Honestly, he'll be back tomorrow. Cole Keith. Actually, if you were from Miramichi, wouldn't I say something like, "How's she going?"
I don't know what you probably wouldn't even be able to talk if you were from there. So I don't know what
Boom,
you'd say.
Miramichi.
Yeah.
Suck on that. Andrew Quattrin joining us here as well. The big guys are in studios. The big guys are 3-0. The first home game coming up April the 4th. We're looking forward to that. That will be the field currently that the York, and I was going to say Yeoman, they're now the York Lions. What's wrong with Yeoman? People never knew what that meant. What is a yeoman? Like yeoman? No, it was none of those. They're now the Lions, I believe. A nice facility, but that facility I think is going to be upgraded too. Like there's a lot of work going on here in the GTA, and then eventually we're saying Lamport. It will be Lamport at some point. Do we?
Second 5 games.
The last 5 games will be at Lamport, right in Liberty Village. You know, I mean, your timing is going to be awesome. You go down, it's going to be. Now, most of the games are what day? Are they a Saturday or a Sunday? They're a Saturday.
Saturday, one Friday night game, one Saturday.
So Friday and then Saturday's down in Liberty Village. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I also ran into someone else that could be good too. A booze man, a new booze company. See, this is what happens here. This is what goes on. You stick an Irish guy in the middle of someplace, he'll find a booze guy. It's it's how we're like the pigs
we
with the
got one of
truffles. Yeah, there you go. You know that's true. You know it's true. So we're looking forward to that. Atlanta, by the way, is this weekend coming up. It is yet another expansion team, but I think you're going to find a lot of that with this league. Cities are going to figure out, what that sell is, and for those that don't have it, eventually will have it. Those that are starting smaller, probably going to build towards it. So you do see some shuffling around, but these are big markets, and I think when you talk about Atlanta, if you're talking about university, well, all the Georgia schools that are down there. It's usually what they call ACC, so. Tobacco Row is generally all down, so you got Dukes and your Carolinas. There's a lot of big people hitting each other down there, and it's what I always think is interesting. Will the markets that don't quite have that heritage of rugby just sort of enjoy the fact, should they become educated on the sport, that it literally is like the football they love, minus the helmets, and then no whistles. And then these guys, because it is very difficult in this sport to mail it in, to not try on a given moment. They don't have that in your sport. The big guys are fast. It's
really
ish,
fast.
Ish.
Yeah. But it's like, they always talk about in North American football how the offensive linemen have to have good feet, which is true. But so what is actually your stats? What are we saying about Andrew? What, you're 6?
I'm 6 foot, 100, and I'm 253. I usually know my kgs, but I've been using a scale that's pounds, so 253 is what? 114,
I don't know the
kg.
other one. 253 I get.
Yeah.
So big then.
Yeah, ish.
Ish.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see what Cole says because he usually has to lie about it. So
All right, Cole.
look at that. Look at the face
It's
on it. He
nice.
doesn't even know what he's going to
Yeah,
say.
Cole. Isn't that nice? Cole the liar now. Do you see what happened there?
Yeah. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. And
6'4",
what are you?
280.
Yeah, 6'4", 264.
Okay, I'm going with that. No one's going to fight you on that one.
No.
And so, as I said, we are into week number 4. They are 3-0, and now we didn't see the error. We didn't see Danny's signature move on the weekend.
Oh, I thought he was going to do it when he
I
got
think
in
it's
the
because we
corner
were
there.
chirping him at training the other day. He scored a try, and we were all yelling, shoot the arrow, but he didn't do it. And I don't know if maybe we got in his head or what, but
So now he's rattled by his own team.
potentially, I don't know.
I wanted it, and when he scored
Yeah,
in the
we
corner
all want
there.
it. That's what we live for.
Yeah.
It's great.
I'd give
love
him the
it.
ball every time if I got to see him throw the ball up and shoot the arrow. That gets me more fired up than anything.
Now, nobody else has, to my knowledge, a move, do they?
Oh.
Do they?
The front row. Well, yeah, the front row has
Yeah,
a
we
move.
have a move, the hairy walk.
Yeah, our S&C, they stand very posturous, so
The hairy walk.
yeah.
So Sean Harrison, our S&C coach,
Yeah.
he loves to stand with his hands behind it. He's got these big bowed legs, and he stands with his hands behind his back, and we just imitate him all the time. We'll just stand there and hunched over a little bit with everything, and
So when would you use this signature move, though? Can we see it during a game?
Push
How-
over scrum. Cole
Yeah,
Keith did it
yes.
already, yeah.
we did it against the Jabronis against Austin.
The jabronis, ladies and gentlemen. That's for the show. You like that one. I like that. So we're going to have to watch for that then.
Yeah, after we had a big pushover penalty try for us, and Q told me before the game if we ever do that, we're just going to stand on the goal line and walk out together. But I did it, and I was all alone. So
It was 1v8 in the scrum that time, so that's why I let it be.
So everyone says they'll do it. And in typical
Yeah, I
guy
backed
fashion,
out.
everyone stops
Cole
except
Keith
for
was
one
true.
guy.
I did back out.
You go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? It is 8:35. We do traffic on the 5s once again, checking this morning. Once again, the normal congestion across the QEW, across the top of Mississauga towards the 403. If you're coming down the 427, actually lighten up quite a bit, as it has across the top of the city on the 401. The 410, also less congestion as things are starting to move. We do not have any traffic conditions or accidents to report at this time. Even the QEW going from Etobicoke into the city across the Humber, actually much, much better. So we're kind of getting away with one early. I don't think we will later on. As I'm looking at the precipitation, the temperature's going to drop a little bit. So by the time I believe you come back, there is a winter storm warning. You'll probably get it later on today. If you're looking at the Lakeshore West, they had some earlier issues, but right now it looks like the only one to report is the 749, the eastbound West Harbor to Union Station is an 8-minute delay, but the train is moving. This is your arrows up Toronto Arrows. We will continue more in studio. Right now it's 8:37 on News Talk, Saga 960.
Hang on. There'll be more gambling, booze, and meat talk, sprinkled in with sarcasm, condescension, and insults. This is Raw Mike Richards, brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products.
It's a good lineup in the front there.
It is.
Oi.
This is great, Bill.
Yeah. You hadn't seen those yet?
No, I
We got to
haven't.
give you guys yeah, we just got them, so we'll give you guys each a bunch to share with people. Our guy Sam Malcolm got MLR Player of the Week for that performance.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, player of the
Well, 9 for 9.
9 for 9.
That one angle he had was brutal when he was.
He's
week.
automatic.
Crazy.
The scariest part of that whole thing was not every one of those kicks was pretty much down the middle, regardless.
Yeah.
Hammered,
None
like
that-
I'm saying,
none that were close.
because North American football, I mean, they love to steal, and if I'm watching that, because he's pounding that ball and he's splitting the uprights.
Yeah. He's
He's something
quite
else.
a few fans down in New Zealand. They're now going, how long is he contracted with Toronto for?
Right.
Can he come back?
Because he's a Kiwi, right?
He's a Kiwi.
Yeah.
Yeah. North Island.
Yeah, man, he's got a heart of a lion.
Yeah, he is.
That guy
Not big, but he's tough.
does not bow down.
Tough as
He's a fullback, right?
He's playing fullback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus his tactical kicking was outstanding. Was keeping Seattle
You having fun?
on their back foot all game. Like
Chirping me.
So we're in the Summerhill liquor store. It's the nice one right down on Yonge and Summerhill.
That's right beside our office.
Yeah.
We're literally right there.
Okay, so there's a guy in there, and there's this Irish whiskey that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
So my son and I are going down to the city just for shits and giggles, and we're going to watch the Wilder Fury fight,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
just wherever. And so we stop in to the liquor store because it's a great liquor store, and there's this guy, and it's called, and I got his card, St. Patrick's. I've never heard of it before. It's not like some of the others. It's been over there for a while.
It's an Irish whiskey.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's out of Vaughan, like 5 minutes up the road. And that's where their head office is. So I got his card. And I'm looking at him. And I've known enough Irish people. And
Yeah.
I did have a Cuban girlfriend for a while. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, what part of Ireland are you from? You're from the southern part? He goes, no, I'm not from the southern part. Usted entiende español? Sí. He goes, hey, sí, mexicano. Mexican. ¿Cómo te llamo? Oh, Roberto Lopez. Yeah, very Irish. So I grab his card. He's got all this stuff. I said, where are you guys? He goes, I'm just up in Vaughan. Like, where in Vaughan? Like, Woodbridge? He goes, yeah, Woodbridge. Give me the card. So they're brand new. Brand new.
Okay.
So you never, guys like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just never know,
Yeah,
right?
You just share his V card with
Yes.
me. Give me his details.
Yeah.
Give him a call and-
Yeah.
Those are like emerging
20
brands
seconds.
like that because we can serve that in our beer. Like we're gonna have a really good beer garden.
Because that's what I'm thinking too. That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Have you tried any other things yet?
Not yet. I was
okay.
on the road,
Okay.
but I'm going to this week.
I'll think of more too.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
do. I'm coming.
The boys are back in town. You're listening to Raw Mike Richards, brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products on News Talk Saga 960. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike and Dave.
.840 News Talk Saga 960 Raw. Mike Richards. It is Arrows Up. And this morning we are finding out a lot about not only the players but some of the coaches, some of the tendencies they might have.
Cynical.
Cole Keith is from Appahocky? No.
Applehawk.
Appahock.
Yeah.
Appahock. New Brunswick. Holland Landing. Andrew Quattrin.
Yes, sir.
The legend. So Q, that's the nickname, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what the boys call it.
Q?
Yeah.
What would you be known for in Holland Landing? Let's say, if someone said, I was watching the television the other day, and Andrew Quattrin, isn't that such and such's boy? And they'd say, oh, wasn't he the one who? What are they saying? What's that
I
sentence?
honestly I always had crazy hair. I never really had an average haircut.
Average?
Yeah, well, it's above average.
Okay,
So
No, I think it's outstanding. Just so you know,
Thank you.
I am
Appreciate
for
it. I had my first ever like professionally done haircut last night. My mom usually my mom's again better than professional, but
Yeah.
so I had it done last night. But yeah, probably the hair. I'd say the hair.
Yeah, you got to go for that.
Yeah.
It's like very Mark Gastineau. Very New York Jets, 19...
I don't know who that is.
no, yeah, I know.
He had
Oh,
the Billy Ray Cyrus going last night. It was real long up top, flip back. It was.
Oh, did you? That
Yeah,
full
you would have
Billy
liked
Ray.
that.
I like that too.
I should have kept that.
Anything with flow, I'm for. So when Danny came in, I'm like, okay, now we're talking. I think the whole team now. I don't think Shep can he? No.
There's no way. He grows it on his chest and his back, not his head.
Shep, Gaston.
I mean,
their days are over.
Yeah, I think that's. Now, I've not yet talked to Thomas de la Vega. What does his hair look like? Is it amazing?
He's good. Yeah, he's got
amazing
great,
hair.
Great
He sounds like
eyebrows,
Borat
good
when he
hair.
laughs.
Yeah.
He's got the funniest laugh ever.
Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do a show at some point where I want like literally the whole team, like just microphones everywhere. But one of the things I'm thinking about is to do like a half an hour from like the beer garden before a game, like that. We just have to figure out how to do that. We'll get our fellas from Bell Lifestyle Products. I know they want to be there, and we'll get a bunch of others because I think the atmosphere, and we'll pick a game. We'll figure out what game we want to do. But the one thing about this, and as you're watching here this morning, if you haven't figured it out, the guys are awesome, and that's part of selling the team as well. Once you get to know these guys a little bit, you stop being, Andrew, and you start being Q. You can hear it in the crowd. People start to pick up on those kinds of things.
Yeah.
It's very much a part of growing a culture. Now, the culture of rugby, as I've mentioned many times beforehand, is pretty strong in the GTA, in and around this area. I'd say, a good almost 40 years of it, depending on where you went to high school, but all the way up to Barrie and from down. Like, Barrie had a lot of rugby. Like, when I grew up in Stouffville, you had to go through, I think it was either Barrie Central or Barrie Eastview.
No, Barrie Central.
Barrie
It's
Central.
closed down now, yeah.
Barrie Central's gone.
Yeah, I used to have a coach that taught there. Barrie Central's gone. They merged it with Barrie North, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Barrie Central's gone.
Well, that
Sad
used to
day.
be a powerhouse.
That was a powerhouse. Yeah,
Yeah.
double A rugby. Yeah.
That is really interesting. Now, in terms of Canadians, like we talked this, I think about this before. There's no ratio, right? You don't have to have so many Canadians or so many whatever because it's a North American league, which is interesting. By the numbers, how many Canadians do we have on the Arrows?
28 out of 35.
28 out of 35? That's outstanding. Like, that truly is outstanding. And I would also think, too, that if you're the national program, there's nothing better than what you guys are doing right now. I mean, if this didn't exist, okay, let's put it this way. So Major League Rugby, there are no Toronto Arrows. And there's no league. Let's get rid of the whole league. So where are you playing? Like, what goes on? You're on the national team. But what else are you doing then? Are you working like a 9-to-5 job? Are you digging dark soil?
That's what it used to be. Yeah.
I think like the MLR exposed me to the national team. So without the MLR originally, I'd be sixth year at uni.
No, he's saying like, what do you do if there was no league?
Oh, what would I
But
be doing?
you're saying, you'd be university
I
still.
wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Honestly, wouldn't even know where to start.
But yeah, it's like, so out there they had like a carded program for guys based in Canada. You'd live in Victoria and just train and work out and play club rugby on the weekends if it was in the season, or you would go and play in England or France, or if you could get a contract somewhere. But it's really difficult for people from North America just because passport issues, because there's so many eligibility laws.
Right.
So
Because you'd be taking the job away from a French guy
Exactly.
or an Italian guy or whatever.
and so the majority of the team was just always in Victoria training out there and stuff like that. So
See, that's what I mean. This is so, kind of cool and groundbreaking because the ripple effect is enormous when you think about it. So now there's going to be a kid in, I don't know, grade 7 is going to turn on the TV in Newmarket. Your thing's going to flash up on TSN. It's going to say Holland Landing, and that's going to mean something.
Excuse me.
I mean, it's how sport works. It's the effect of the Toronto Raptors having a team in the NBA. Look how many Canadians are in NCAA basketball. Look how many have gone on to be like NBA and NBA stars.
Yeah.
That never would have happened if you didn't see the Toronto Raptors, and Vince Carter is a massive a part of it, which is Jamal McGlure, and you go back because kids on TV say, You mean I can do this? I can do this in my own country. See, that's the other big part of this too. So if you're the national team program, this is a gift from God. What they just got with Major League Rugby, and I don't know down the road how it works here in Canada, but you've got to assume. I mean, at least to my way of thinking, how is there not going to be a team in Vancouver or Victoria or something like that? Does that not make sense for them, considering the hotbed that it has always been for rugby?
Yeah, it's there's some other markets in the U.S. we still have to get to, but maybe one day there'll be one in Vancouver.
Because you can see it happening. Because at some point, you're going to want to have your own club, especially where rugby is being played. So it's a very exciting time, and it's also just like Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
You watch the World Cup. And I think the weirdest thing I ever heard that I thought I would never hear. So during a World Cup game, and I don't know what country it was, so someone's substituting on, and they say, "Here comes Andrew Quattrin from Real Salt Lake." Number one, stupidest name ever for a place in Utah being called Real. I mean, just ridiculous. But there's a guy from Major League Soccer walking on to play in the World Cup, because that's what's going to happen for you guys. Because it's because when you see that level increasing, they're going to talk about the club team. Toronto Mariners are your club team. It's just a part of it. So, because you haven't had the television exposure that you're going to have, but do you have even just friends or family sort of aware? Because they got to be kind of excited that you're actually a professional athlete. You're getting paid to do this. What's the family reaction been?
Yeah, I mean, my mom's like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch you on TV," like, because usually she's trying to stream it, but we don't get really good Wi-Fi. We got dial-up back home, pretty much. So she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch you on TV finally and stuff." So yeah, she's amped just as much as I am. So
yeah, and for you, now what about for you back out east? Are they aware of what you're doing?
Yeah, no, it's they definitely no. My dad loves it. He likes to travel. He comes to a few games every year. He likes to go. He had a good time in New Orleans last year, I think, for the first one.
Oh, I bet he
So
did.
Mom wasn't on that trip as well. So I think Aaron Carpenter's parents might have picked him up at a gas station. Anyway, so yeah, he likes to. He loves it. Fully, just total support from both of them and my whole family. So yeah,
that's great. Now with this game in Atlanta, again, just because people are catching on to the league and they're new. When we have kind of sort of a handle on what happens in preparation in other sports, like what a week looks like, and then if it's a travel, because it's been nothing but travel for you guys simply because of the weather here. So what does that week look like after Seattle? So when do you get home from Seattle? Do you fly right after the game?
Yeah, we were the next day, but it was like a delayed day. We were like home at, I guess, Monday morning, 1 a.m. So yeah, we left the hotel in Seattle at 8 a.m. and got home at Monday 2 a.m. So it was almost.
Oh, see, that's brutal.
Yeah.
See, that's tough. People don't realize that when you start putting travel, especially the West Coast, that's
time
tough.
change and everything. Is
Time change.
Nothing you could do about it. Like,
no.
Right? Just delays, and the boys just kicked on. It was great, but
so
yeah, it was a long day.
So you sleep.
We had Monday off.
So Monday's off, and then what happens Tuesday?
Tuesday we'll show back up to work. UFT. Some guys will have treatment early morning, but we start at 10. So we have our lift, and then 11 a.m. skills. So we just walk across the street to the dome, which is perfect setup. And then we have meetings from 12 to 1:30, and then we're training done by 3.
Now, will you see, because they're new? Will you watch tape? Will you watch film?
Yeah, we get every training, all games. We have full reviews of everything. So that's what those meetings are for. Those little blocks we have. Forwards meetings, team meetings, positional meetings, stuff like that. So
when you see, like, for instance, Atlanta, because they're a new team, but you said a lot of the guys, obviously, that are on that team.
Yeah, a few of them, yeah.
And so, again, in other sports, I have an idea what it looks like when there's a new team, but because everyone's so new, is that an advantage for you guys, do you think?
I think you could almost be nervous about it because you just got to...
you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. Like, from the two guys we know sort of how they play and stuff, but that's 2 of 15. So yeah, I think it's you really got to show up on games like that. So
you not only are dealing with the travel, there's the unexpected that you've got this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, we do our review on them. Like, we watch their plays, their lineouts, stuff like that. But so we try to get a decent idea of what they're going to do before we go into it. And then the guys who don't make the 23 or aren't starting usually run through their plays at training, so that we kind of get a feel for the pitcher. But I mean, that being said, they could change everything from week to week too.
So
right?
what have you seen? Is there something that you have seen so far in the films of what they've done in the first handful of games that leads you to believe they can do one thing better maybe than like what's the one thing that you would focus
It's just
on?
like their plays that
Right.
they like their starter plays,
Yeah.
their set piece plays. So as forwards, we'll look at their lineouts. Where do they go up most of the time, and we'll try to cover that,
Right.
so that we can steal the ball. The backs look at what lines they run, so that they can cut them off behind the gain line. And then, but like after the first 2 or 3 phases, it's all just
Now you're just going.
Yeah,
now
and
it's just
playing, right?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
not as much structure, and it's just get out there and make a tackle.
So they have good athletes on their team.
Yeah, I mean, there's good athletes on every team.
Yeah.
So they'll have some big ball carriers and some fast guys, but it's just the same all around the league. So.
Well, as I said, it's exciting because it's so new, and I think once we have home games, so it's April the 4th. By the way, we'll get out information so you can get tickets. And I would just suggest getting the season tickets. It's like the price of what 2 cases of beer. I mean, when you think about it,
it is, yeah.
you're not going to get cheaper than this, and you're going to have yourself a fantastic time. We're going to try to get also as much video as we can as we get video out. We're going to throw that. Now, what was that like? It was it Luke Wilson? Who did you have?
Luke Wilson,
Luke
yeah.
Wilson, yeah.
Good Canadian boy.
So talk about that. Seattle Seahawk giving you guys a little bit of a tour.
My buddies, I'll talk on it briefly. I'm not much of a big football fan, like I said. My buddy's a massive Seahawks fan, but I think just like sort of seeing a different lifestyle he lives and stuff like that out west. And he was like such a down to earth guy. Like,
Yeah.
Like you run into him on the street, I feel like he's not like, oh, I'm in the NFL. He was just like the chillest guy. Like he was a guy's guy, like just one of the boys you want in your squad. Yeah, he was a beauty.
See, that's awesome. I was almost shocked when I heard what was going to happen. Were you hanging around him too?
Oh yeah, I was there. That was sick. I mean, just their facilities and everything is. I mean, they got their own barber shop in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like they got 2 barber chairs. I mean, I don't know. Someday maybe we'll have that. No, but just they have everything at their disposal.
Andrew doesn't need it.
Yeah.
No,
You don't need
I
it.
got my mom
No.
back.
You don't need it. You don't need it. Absolutely.
But no, it was crazy. Just the everything they have was you can't even really describe how.
It is overwhelming. The
Yeah.
amount of money that
Yeah.
it takes to
Oh,
have
yeah.
what they've got is frightening.
Yeah, it's awesome. But
What that is what a great experience.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so cool, and that's the other thing too. You can't replace this stuff as you get older. I mean, that's a memory you get forever.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
You know, I mean, that's what I think is so amazing when you, again, part of something that is so new. Well, boys, thanks so much for coming in today.
Of
that,
course.
that was
Thanks for
awesome.
having us.
And,
We couldn't turn it down. We were told the two-time NHL champion Mike Richards was
oh yeah,
interviewing us. So
yeah, that's true. And
Kenora, Ontario.
neither one of the Mike Richards likes Dry Island. Neither one of us are going to that island ever. So
we'll get along just fine.
yeah, thanks so much for coming. Best of luck this weekend too.
Awesome, thank you.
We're going to see you around and have a lot of fun. So I appreciate that. And we'll figure out once we start April 4th. By the way, the first home game, but then they're going to have the last 5 at Lamport. And those are going to be, I mean, there's a Friday night, Saturday during the day.
They'll
Are you
be
kidding me?
buzzing. Those will
It
be
is going to be
buzzing.
real good. Look forward to that. Thanks so much, guys.